Hi, this is Doug Ward from Tech Britain. Today we're in the Northern Ireland Science Park with Matt Johnston. Thanks for your time. Just like to let our viewers know a little bit about yourself. I mean, when we came over to Northern Ireland, you were the go-to guy. Just like to let the viewers know just a bit about your background to start with.
My background's in biology, and I worked for Nortel for a few years, so worked for a huge tech company and got sort of involved in sort of the global citizen thing that they were doing. And after I left, whenever they were offering voluntary redundancy, I started my own company, and I ran that until it got a bit boring, as in profitable, and then I started doing other things and stopped annoying the people that were working for me. So now for the last 3.5 years I've been involved in helping and supporting startups mostly in the digital media and game sector.
Obviously you're very involved in the organic grassroots community of the Meetups. I mean, we were at Block 54 the other night, a games meetup, which was fantastic. Perhaps you'd like to let our viewers know how that came about.
All of our meetups are based on that grassroots need. I don't think it's appropriate to start a program without having 50 followers. It's that sort of Kevin Kelly idea. You need 1,000 fans to make anything happen at all. So we're a small region. We need a certain amount of critical mass to do anything effective. So in the groups that we've got together, which were in web, in mobile, in open data, and games is the latest one, we gather those people that are interested, and we give them reasons to meet together. We feed them sometimes, but we contrive reasons, and we then convince them to collaborate on those things. So you get a community that is based on people knowing what they're doing and realizing that the people that are down the street are not competitors in anything. They're the guy down the street who's your sales channel to a new customer.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to come back to Block 54 in a minute, but I mean, all the other meetups should say that Digital Circle is the place to go to first. So the domain's digitalcircle.org, where you can see a whole. If you like to let our viewers know about that.
On digitalcircle.org we host all of our events. So all the events we go to are free, and anybody can turn up. Membership is also free. Any sort of procurement for government opportunities, and we put on there for free as well. And local companies can put jobs on there. So we're trying to build this idea that it's a community site for the community. We've about 221 businesses on there at the moment, and about 1,000 digital media practitioners, which for a region of this size is not bad.
Absolutely. And just for our viewers that perhaps not been on Digital Circle yet, what other meetups are you involved with, Matt?
Well, to be honest, I'm involved in some way with just about anything. So we try and support all the other things that are happening. So in the past, we've supported the local Belfast Ruby meetup. We've supported again, there's a new open data one that's actually tonight, which is all about the local government open data, and that's the mechanism of government. So how politicians interact. All that data has just been opened up. So there's a meeting on tonight. The local hackerspace we've been very supportive of, and we're also supportive in a lot of other sort of fringe things that are not strictly digital. So we would be very supportive of Arts NI, which is getting people in art together with technology. There's an educational technology one as well, which is getting teachers who aren't ICT teachers but are interested in using technology in classrooms, and we support those as well.
So I guess at this point it'd be good to talk about, obviously with your experience, you've had a lot of interaction with the government. We like to ask people what their thoughts are on the government's role in technology. Perhaps share your opinions on that.
Ideally, in an ideal world, the government shouldn't get involved. But we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a market where there are serious gaps, especially when you're in a sort of microcosm like Northern Ireland. So there are areas where there's a gap in the market, and I believe it's government's role to step in and make sure it fills that gap. Now there's some that are very obvious. So in skills, for example, if we want to have a digital future, we have to have skilled practitioners. They need to be competent before they go to university. We don't have that. So government needs to sort out the skills gap. They need to give access, and we've had some good success. And we've replicated Coder Dojo from the Republic of Ireland, and that's running in Belfast, in Newry and Derry. We have run skills programs with local colleges, which were supported by government again to try and and get this idea that it's not about formal education. You don't need a degree to go and start a digital business. You just need talent. And then, other than skills, it also bleeds into things like export, internationalisation, translation. All of these things are areas where the government can help because they have the people or they have the resources. And the final one is probably investment. I think the government needs to focus very much on seed investment. If they want companies to grow, they have to actually plant the seeds, and that currently isn't happening here.
I'd like to speak about your past experience with the pilot incubator space. I'd like to let our viewers know a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. We got 2 or 3 local entrepreneurs and one remote entrepreneur who had been extremely successful in his career, David Kirk, and we decided, well, with 6 months free space in a ramshackle old building, we'd run an incubator with David giving people advice, very detailed advice on what to do with their cap tables and how to create option codes and how to essentially read a term sheet.
Which isn't spoken about a lot.
No, you seldom get that level of detail, and often the programs for investor readiness are actually held by hedge funds and venture capitalists who are not inclined to tell you the secrets. They're inclined to tell you how good theirs is.
Yeah.
So he ran that program, and we provided support, and we did the catering. We had a paint day to get the building all painted and whatnot. And for 6 months, these people were subjected to a grueling endurance test of having to deal with David every day. And I think every single one will benefit from that. Some of those businesses aren't running, but our success rate was 66%, which is probably better than any other incubator. Considering that our budget was like 500 quid. It's not as if we had hundreds of thousands to give away or anything. It was 500 quid. But the idea was take 6 companies, 6 months, and ask for 6% of equity from it. As it was a pilot, we didn't take the 6%, and we sort of revealed that to the companies halfway through. But the point was to get them into the idea they may have to give up equity for something, because that attitude of having to own 100% of the pie is still here. I still have it as well.
So, is there plans for an incubator space in Belfast?
Yes and no. There's quite a few people that are doing incubators, which is essentially cheaper rent, and it's a property play. The Science Park has some great units. It's an advert. There's some great units that anybody can rent if they're a technology-related company in any sector, and that is one aspect of it. But it's not actually that we're trying to create. It's this idea of taking a company where somebody can walk in with an idea on day one, and on 6 months later, they are ready to accept investment. And it's all the stages. They may need a demo built. They may need some sort of seed investment to get them to that stage. They may need cap tables. They may need to form a company. All of that condensed into 6 months, and then kick them out. Whether we get that is another thing, because it's currently out for economic appraisal. But that's what we want. That's what we think is needed, and that's what's not currently being provided.
So far on our travels, we've seen that accelerator programs are a great way for startups. We were speaking earlier before off camera about the problems with seed capital, not so much later stage capital, because kind of people come to you when you're getting that kind of success. But what's your thoughts on seed capital at the moment?
It's way too low for a start. We were talking about Instagram a couple of days ago. Their first seed round was $500,000. Now, I don't expect Belfast or Newry or Derry or Edinburgh or Newcastle, whatever, to be able to provide that level of seed with essentially a business plan scrawled on the back of a napkin.
Yeah.
But you want to know where you are in the continuum. I don't want Belfast to be San Diego. I want Belfast to be the best Belfast can be. I don't want Newry to be San Jose. I want it to be the best that Newry can be. So it's about Derry. Exactly. It's about figuring out where you are on that continuum and being the best. And I don't believe we're hitting it there. For seed capital, there needs to be some reasonable terms for seed capital, and because we don't have seed angels, we just don't have them here. That's where government needs to step in. You can get much better support in other nations in Europe, and it's just not present here.
Yeah, just moving away from the finance side of things, the grassroots community in Belfast seems very vibrant and strong. Perhaps you could speak to people who might not have come out to the meetups before. I mean, I know myself and Sean, we were the kind of guys who stayed in the bedroom. We didn't really understand the benefits of going out. We're quite defensive of the ideas and that kind of thing. I'd like to let the viewers know kind of what to experience when coming to a meetup.
Well, the first thing is to get over the fear. If your idea is easily stealable, it's not a great idea. If nobody's done it before, why haven't they done it before? You know, you have to think about where your idea fits in the market. There's nothing really to be gained by hiding away. I mean, I'm constantly inundated with people that tell me they've had this idea and they've been sitting on it for the last 5 years. Well, you know, nothing's harder on an idea than sitting on it. You know, it just won't survive the market. You can either put a lot of effort into it and reap the benefits, or somebody else will do it and you can buy it on the App Store for 69p. You know, you take your chances. The people that you're more likely to meet at meetups are not necessarily going to steal your idea, because people have to have some sort of reputation, and reputation will out, essentially. So you have to consider them as potential collaborators. And the Games Network's a great example, because we have a commitment from all the games companies and also from all the colleges and universities to put time into the network, so that if somebody has a problem, they will work together to fix it. Getting that from 10 or 15 games companies who are all trying to get something started, that they will actually commit time to help another company. That's an immense resource. You know, it's something we unexpected, but the games guys realise that their market is not Northern Ireland. It's not like the web guys where they're all trying to do a website for a local shop or a local bar chain or whatever. Your customer in games is everybody else in the world. People in Northern Ireland or people in your immediate region, they're your beta testers. It's everybody else in the world that is your actual customer.
Yeah.
I mean, a games company could give away their game for free to everybody in their local region in return for a review, and that would be of more benefit than actually trying to get sales out of the local guys.
I'd like to speak about, obviously again, about we were at Block 54 and how there was investors, guys coming over from the States. I'd like to let our viewers know about that.
Yeah, we are very keen to, it's not just about getting people access to investors. So some of the investors that come over, they may know, you know, maybe extremely experienced or whatever, they may have time to do investments. So it's not about necessarily getting investment, but it is about raising that aspiration and awareness. So the other night, I mean, I had to make 17 introductions in an hour and a half.
Matt was a busy guy the other night,
and I got through every single introduction, and some people got more time, some people got less time, but really what it was how impressive is your demo, and also how ready you are to show something off. Some of our companies like Black Market Games or Zombiesaurus had a game that was relatively polished and therefore could show it off. I mean, Black Market have already got a distribution deal, so they're already doing really well. They've got, you know, I think they're on like 10 different distributors, etc. And they already knew the investors, so it was just a re-meeting of those guys. For Zombiesaurus, 2 or 3 guys who are just getting started. Now they can benefit as much from Black Market Games experience as they can from meeting the investors.
Absolutely.
And then there's the aspect of showing investors that there actually is something here. If you come to Northern Ireland 3 years ago, there was 1 games company. Now we have a reputed 19.
Wow.
So in those last 3 years, mostly in the last 2 years, people have realised that in many cases the reason they got into programming was to make games, and then they went to work for an insurance company.
Yeah.
So getting them making games is, you know, it's good for everybody.
One thing I like to say with people, we find when we speak to people off camera, and like for example at the event there was a couple of guys who've never been to a meetup before, and you see people like yourself in the kind of like the spotlight because you're out there doing things, organising all these meetups, working alongside the government, and sometimes, Matt, they're a little bit intimidated to come up to yourself and, you know, say, please could you help. I think it's important to get across the message that, just giving an indication about Matt, is when he was showing round these investors to all the companies, Matt's actually got a games company, a startup that he's working on, and he didn't pitch to the investors. He was, you know, I think that's important to say, because, you know, a lot of people in your position would have been, oh well, look at my startup, you know. So I just think that's important to get across. And also, like, what's your thought process behind that?
Well, I was there to do a job. And also, you know, my company needs investment because it's, well, we don't have it. And we want to build a product, and we know how much we're going to need, and we have a team that is, you know, we're trying to stay motivated while not having investment, but we don't have anything to show. And Block 54 the other night was about showcasing. It was showing stuff that people have done. Now, I can show people drawings and scripts and whatnot, but there are guys out there that have, busted their ass actually producing something. The programmers and a couple of artists and whatnot, and it's important to focus on those guys. It doesn't matter what my personal needs are. I reckon that for the good of the community, we need to show the guys that I showed. Maybe next time I might get a look in, but I'm not gonna be precious about it.
Yeah.
I kind of figure that if you fix the environment, everybody wins.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic to hear. I think we should say as well about, again, just earlier speaking off camera, about the offer to go across to Southeast Asia, and perhaps you could get your capital there, or you could go across to San Francisco. I think it's important to get across the message of your love for Northern Ireland, not just Belfast, and how you collaborate with, you're across to Derry, I believe.
Yeah.
Speak with Mark about Culture Tech coming up, and speaking with Nicola and Newry, and really pulling Northern Ireland together. What would you like to see for Northern Ireland's future in the tech world?
Well, I only speak about Northern Ireland. I mean, it's not about Belfast or Derry or Newry, because I don't live in Belfast. I'm a bit up the coast, out near the sea. I like it there. But for all of it is that pulling together. Nowhere in Northern Ireland is far from anywhere else. I mean, at most, Derry's about the furthest, and it's 71 miles away from Belfast. So nowhere is far away. And with the internet, there's no reason why. It's even closer than that. You don't know. It's that old thing. Nobody on the internet knows you're a dog. So the actual, an artist in Derry can be working with a developer in Belfast who can be working with a sound engineer in Newry. And nobody knows that, and nobody cares where you are. It's all about showcasing your talent. Digital Circle itself is about making sure that everybody knows what you're doing. So we have space for showing off projects as well as showcasing your company. If you want promoted, write an article and put it up on there, and it gets seen by hundreds of people every day. So the idea is, it doesn't matter where you are, we're all in this together. Is this, talking with Mark actually, Mark Gursky up in Derry, it was this idea of the big hub, that everything in Northern Ireland is close. We've got a big fibre ring around it. We just need to turn the light on that ring and let everybody access it. And the internet more or less means that it doesn't matter if you're in Strabane or Newry or wherever. You're within 20 or 30 miles of a major point of presence, and you can get out to everybody else.
If someone's watching this and they're thinking, Matt, do I stay in Northern Ireland? Is this the best place for my startup? What would you say to that?
That's a really difficult question. I love it here. I even love it when it rains. There are things that frustrate me about it, but I chose a long time ago when I was working for Nortel that Northern Ireland was going to be where I stayed, and so that's where I raised my family and whatnot. And I have a lot of aspiration, a lot of love for the region, so I think you should stay. But if you don't have ties, why wouldn't you go out and experience the world? What you'll find is that, yes, in some areas access to capital is much easier. In some areas we don't have as many, or they don't have as many engineers because the demand is much higher. In some areas it's extremely competitive. There's lots of different reasons to go to other places. If you do go away, just make sure you come back.
Yeah, and something that doesn't get said is the internet speed in Belfast. You'd like to share that, just to...
Well, yeah, I'm just about to switch my contract's ended with my last provider, so I'm about to switch to BT Infinity, which is 10 meg up and 80 meg down, and I'm, I don't think that's fast enough because I'm an internet person and I've got kids that want to watch Netflix and all sorts, so it's not fast enough for me. But Belfast just won this new broadband fund, which has been, which the Home Office or the Exchequer or somebody's given them a heap of money, and we've pressed on Belfast the idea that they are the capital of Northern Ireland, not just a city council, and so it is their responsibility, I believe, to reach out to every other region and make sure that they've got access to Belfast. So it's again, it's about thinking bigger. What's the bigger picture? Where do you want the region to go? Belfast should remember that for many people, it's the location they commute to, and Derry and Newry can say that as well. They're the locations that a lot of people in rural areas commute to, so they need to think bigger.
And anybody out there who's wanting to get in touch with you, Matt, how would you best advise that?
I would say, if it's to do with Digital Circle, go to digitalcircle.org and my contact details are on there. If you want to contact me personally, follow me on Twitter. That's probably the best way. At Kimota, Cimota.
Matt, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.